Hello race fans and welcome to the Porsche Club of Great Britain Sim Racing Championship live from Snetterton in Norfolk. My name is Peter Mackay and I'll be taking you through all the action this evening here from the home of motorsport in Norfolk alongside, well, the home of motorsport in Yorkshire. Paul Smith, welcome to you. Good evening.
Good evening, yeah. A last-minute substitution. Thank you very much to Cheshire's finest internet. Unfortunately, Chaz won't be joining us tonight. So, yeah, I'm stepping in to fill in for tonight. And what a race, what a round of racing we're going to have here today at Snetterton.
That we will, yes. Heat racing here at the Snetterton 300 layout for our Porsche Club drivers. Lots to play for in the Pro and Am Championship, and judging by the times coming in and qualifying already, we are going to be in for a cracker. Let's have a look at how we've been so far this season. We started off at Donington Park back on the 15th of June. We've been to Brands Hatch Indy, we've been to Oulton Park, and we've been to none other than Knockhill in Scotland. We've been all over the UK. Now it's time for Snetterton. Of course, we follow the Porsche Carrera Cup of Great Britain calendar before we head away for our away round at Road Atlanta in a couple of weeks' time. Then back to home shores at the Silverstone National and the Brands Hatch Grand Prix circuit to finish off the season on the 21st of September. But here's how they sit so far in the championship and in the pro class. Well, it's been all Bill Chadwick in the race that he's competed in, but by virtue of turning up and putting in those consistent finishes, Austin Greatrek tops the points by just 6 points at the moment. Johnny Elia not too far behind there in third as well. Johnny Cullen has shown streaks of fantastic pace throughout the season. Stephen Haley, he sits in fifth at the moment, followed by James Cummings. Christian Sarutas in fifth at the moment, followed by James Cummings. Christian Saruta, Stephen Kershaw, Matt Johnson, and Gary Tall rounds out your top 10 in Pro. In the AM class, well, that's all going the way of Stuart Clark at the moment. 18 points to the good from Tom Slater. Oliver Carbadine sits in third, with Paul Goffin and Chris Byram rounding out the top 5. Porsche Sports' Luke Holroyd sits in sixth, with Amrik Sashdev, Rob Sharp, Andrew Shepherd and Ryan Penny rounding out the top 10. So tonight we go racing at Snetterton. Paul, what can we expect here? It's a circuit that many drivers from and fans from these shores will know, but for those who don't, give us a little insight in what we can expect here at Snetterton.
Well, Snetterton's a funny one. It's a little bit of a narrow circuit. It seems to be a bit of a running theme in this series. A bit of a narrow circuit, so you've got to be careful. You've got to have a little bit of compromise. Turn one is quite a sweeping corner down into the hairpin at Adelaide. Now that one is going to be one of your favourite overtaking opportunities on the brakes. Very easy to lock up there at that point. Sweeping turn 3, and then turn 4 is another half a chance of an overtaking opportunity, but it's not so much. You're generally just trying to work your way through 5, 6, 7, and 8 onto the Bentley Straight, of course, and then you head on down into the left, fast left, where you've got to be braking through that left into turn 10, which is a tight right-hander. And then 11 at the bomb hole, through Coram towards the end of the lap at Murray's. But it's a track where you've got to have a bit of patience, I do feel. But if you can get those runs, especially out onto the Bentley Straight, then you can really pick yourself a good slipstream and get yourself a move done as you go to turn 9.
Well, we're a bit of a turn up for the books in qualifying. We have Christian Saruta on pole position at the moment from Will Chadwick, who, although he's not at the top of the championship, he has been incredibly fast so far. Excuse me, that is in practice. I do apologise. We're not into qualifying yet, Paul. However, a statement of intent nonetheless. First of the day.
Don't worry, we'll only have about 6 others to deal with. But yeah, it's practice is a good chance to put down a marker. Gives yourself the chance to get a feel of how the car is. You'll practice with the sort of race setup on to start with, and then as you get closer to qualifying, you'll throw your qualifying setup on and really be able to push it then at that point. And he says about setups, and yeah, it's basically just getting yourself into that flow and into how it feels. But of course, I'll talk about setups. Of course, it's a quick setup series, so that's the second blunder of the day for this
Let's
broadcast.
make it a hat-trick before the green flag. At least it didn't. I mean, it does say capital letters practice in the top left corner of the screen, so I didn't have an excuse, Paul. That's for sure. Anyway, the Christian's route at that pace is definitely going to be encouraging for the driver of the flying bogey. And yeah, sitting a comfortable 0.2 of a second ahead of the World Champion at the moment, and about 0.6 of a second ahead of Austin Greatorex as we tick over into the qualifying session. 3 quick laps for our drivers, 10 minutes to do them. And here at Snetterton, I mean, your favourite topic, Paul, track limits. How easy or not is it here to step over said track limits and have your qualifying time nullified?
Well, given that it's a Jonathan Palmer circuit, it's very easy to pick up an instant point because he does not want you anywhere near his grass, I can tell you that. But yeah, it's certainly one where you've got to keep it within the bounds of the track. Of course, there's no real asphalt runoff around this track. It is an old school sort of style of track with it being grass runoff rather than the asphalt there, so you do have to be careful of those track limits. So yeah, in qualifying, keep it within the bounds of the track. There is 1 or 2 places where you've got like that grass crete where it's got like there on the exit of that corner there, for example. You can go up over that and not get an off-track penalty, but yeah, certainly get anywhere near the green stuff and you pretty much can write off that qualifying lap.
Chris Byram going out for his qualifying run. Now, we do call it, he is the Fresh Prince of the Porsche Club of Great Britain Sim Racing paddock with his very jazzy liveries. But he told me after last race, Paul, that his inspiration for this season's livery is actually Mr. Motivator. And we're of a certain vintage where we remember Mr. Motivator on British morning television, breakfast television. And I think that's a very good tribute to the Mr. Motivator and his very jazzy tracksuits. That car.
It was GM. No, it wasn't GMTV. It was
He
the
was
very end
GMT,
of.
yeah.
It was at the very end of TVAM as well. Though, to be fair.
Yeah, he was definitely GMTV as well. Definitely GMTV.
Yeah. So he was somebody who sort of wore the colourful leotards. That's certainly to say. And
My mum did aerobics with him in the morning.
Absolutely. Let's do a little bit of an onboard back lap then with the man
Here we go. Here we go. Pump the blood now.
So down the centre straight then in towards turn number 1. I know this is Rich's. You've got 2 apexes through there. Carry the speed. Keep it over to the left hand side and onto the brakes before the 100 marker for the hairpin. Tight hairpin onto the power. Try not to spin up the rear wheels. Over to the right hand side for turn 3. Brake, turn. Get it on the apex. You can, as I said earlier, just afford to run it out wide there on the apex so you can get a bit of free real estate on that one. Stay to the right, then onto the brakes into Hamilton. As I say, this is an overtaking opportunity in the race, but you do have to have a little bit of cooperation. Dab of the brakes into turn 5. Bit more than the dab that, and in fact it's very wide. It's got to be careful not to invalidate the lap there. Turn 6 is a tricky one because you're always sort of chasing the apex for turn 7. Turn 8 at Williams onto the Bentley straight, run it out wide, and then it's just full throttle all the way down here. Get it over to the right hand side of the track before you go underneath the bridge. Didn't always used to be there. Brake just before the bridge, turn it in, and then you've got that tricky turning and braking before the right-hander at turn 10. Avoid the curve on the inside of turn 10. Here's the bomb hole. Dip down into that hole, back up and out, and then round Coram, the long sweeping right-hander, which tightens up here. You've got to be careful with this. Slow it down for the left-hander at the end of the lap, up over the curbing on the right-hand side, should I say. And that is a whistle-stop lap around Snetterton.
And breathe, Paul. And breathe. It's It is. It's quite a high-speed circuit, isn't it? Around Snetterton, you see Chris Byron there. Somebody make a bit of a correction coming through Riches. I love it that all of the corners have a name as well, rather than turn 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They've all got a story here at Snetterton. My favourite being the Bentley Straight, because this circuit, the Bentley Speed 8 was developed here at this track as well, which is a very, very cool part of its history. Amongst many other top racing cars, the BMW V12 LMR was developed here, and Lotus's Indy 500 winning Lotus 38 was developed here too, with that rocket ship engine, the Cosworth DFV, and I remember Graham Hill's, the report of Graham Hill's comment when he first drove the DFV here. He says, "My goodness, she's got some squirt."
Yeah, certainly. It was a cold day, if I recall, seeing sort of clips of that test, and yeah, they were out here getting that DFV tested out, and it certainly did them wonders at Lotus. As Johnny Cullen goes up to the top of the standings right now. So Johnny Elia was 1.1 seconds back. It's quite a long lap as this one, and that infield, you say it's a fast track, that infield really does just slow it down and just lose that little bit of a rhythm round here. So I'm not a big fan of the 300 layout, if I'm honest.
I do like Coram. I think Coram's a fantastic corner where you really are trying to step as close to the tightrope of grip as you possibly can, and then you've got the flick to the left of Murray. It's very, very cool. Down the Senna straight. Of course, this track was where Ayrton Senna forged a path to when he came over to the United Kingdom to start racing in the UK, and he actually met up with Ralph Furman of Van Diemen at the Doric restaurant in Attleborough, just up the road, and he couldn't understand why he wasn't going to get paid. He actually in the end up had to bring money. Imagine that, Ayrton Senna having to bring money to a drive. But he brought £10,000, which even in those days was a subsidy.
Yeah, it's incredible when you think of it. But he was not a proven character. He was, what, 22 when he came over? Raced in the British scene for a year or two. Of course, famously had his year-long battle in 1983 with Martin Brundle for the British Formula 3 Championship. But yeah, it was West Surrey Racing that he got to race with here at Snetterton. He had his first test with them there, as well as Austin Greatorex. Cracking lap from him up into provisional pole position.
Great run there. Let's see if Johnny Cullen can topple that. 147.9. Nope, doesn't improve. Now, we did see Saruta do a 47.2 in practice. So let's see what Saruta's got up his sleeve here as he charges down towards Brundle's underneath the bridge. The left-hander here, very, very tricky. Right-hander through Nelson. Ooh. And then through the bomb hole. It was never bombed. It was because the motorcycle racers said that it was a right bum hole of a corner, and they thought that wasn't very PC even in those days, so they renamed it the bomb hole. Through Corums, and then the left-hander of Murray's, and then onto the centre straight. Oh, that'll kill the lap time. Big slide there for Saruta.
Yeah, I think he just caught the grass, didn't he, on the corner exit, and that's, as you say, cost him big 47.8. So, I mean, imagine if he didn't have that moment there. That cost him maybe a tenth or two, as Oliver Carwadine almost follows the same line as well through that final corner of Murray's. But yeah, it's got some history as this track, that's for sure. But it's one that's provided great entertainment over the years. I always think of sort of the British Touring Car Championship coming here. You mentioned it in our pre-race chat, the night race, of course, the first night race that the touring cars had around here, which was won by whom?
By Peter Cox in a Honda.
There you go. So if you remember Peter Cox, then he was a very good driver, not just in touring cars but in GT racing as well.
He was, yeah, of course, factory Aston Martin driver, and he in the DBR9, which, to be honest, is one of the coolest race cars ever built. And his daughter is actually a presenter on television for Formula One. Actually,
I'll be honest, I didn't realise that.
There you go. There's a bit of homework for you, Paul.
Well, Carl Hazelton. Yes.
No, this is it. Thank you for this, Carl. You've saved our bacon there from running down that potentially disastrous rabbit hole, or bomb hole as the case may be. Carl Hazelton took part in the 12 Hours of Snetterton charity race, which was held here in lockdown a couple of years ago. The idea was do an NHS shift in the car, and that solo race was won by none other than Will Chadwick. Will Chadwick had a super battle with Matt Kyle-Hennig all the way to the flag, and it was in Cayman GT4's 12 hours non-stop, and that's just a regular Tuesday practice session for Will Chadwick.
Yeah, he spends a lot of time in the car, doesn't he? Let's be honest. But then again, you know, he's involved with Fordzilla, and he has got quite a bit. He has to put quite a bit of time in the sim. It's not just this series, of course, that Will races in. He races in other series. But we're at the end of qualifying, Peter, already. My goodness, time flies when you're having fun.
Certainly is, and let's see then how we're going to start for heat number 1. Austin Greatorex and Christian Tsuruta will start on the front row for this opening race of the day, with Johnny Cullen and Will Chadwick on row 2. Then it's Johnny Elia and the AM-Clash leader Chris Byram. Row 4 is Stephen Haley and Rob Sharp, followed by Tom Slater and Amrik Sashdev. Then it's Oliver Carradine and Stuart Clark. 13th on the grid will be Porsche Centre Chester's Ryan Penny, followed by Heinz Meyer, Carl Hazelton, Ralph Meyer, Michael Rowe and Jared Coleman. Drew Fletcher starts from 19th, followed by Steve Kershaw, and Mark Elvin rounds out our 21-car grid. So, 15 minutes the distance here. Is it going to be Greatorex? Is it going to be Tsuruta? Is it going to be Will Chadwick? We've seen pretty much every race that Will has been present for. He's won, Paul, but he's had to work for it plenty of times with both Tsuruta and Greatorex really making it difficult, and Cullen for that matter.
Yeah, this is going to be interesting to see, and of course we've got that gridding version as well, haven't we, for the feature race? So finishing position is going to be key to getting yourself some points, but also getting yourself a bit further back in the grid there.
Okay, revs are up, ready to go. We're racing here in the Porsche Club of Great Britain, live from Snetterton. Down towards turn 1 they go. And it's Greatorex who holds the inside line from pole position, but Tsuruta just swoops around the outside at Rich's brilliant move there from the driver of the Flying Bogey. He immediately goes to the defensive line as they go into Wilson Hairpin and gets the job done. Very nice stuff. Tsuruta looks really up for this tonight as we see Chris Byram, Mr. Motivator himself, he looks like he's lost a couple of places off the start there, Paul.
He's scrapping for 6th and 7th place that he's in right now, so he's trying desperately. There was a car around. Who is that?
Stuart Clark, I think.
Rob Sharp. Oh, not the start that you want here, because you're going to be a long, long way back in the early stages, and we have only got one heat race here, so everybody is out there on the track trying to get themselves some points here. So no split heat races here for this round, just one heat, and that'll get you some points in the championship and also organise a reverse grid.
Exactly. So the heats, they set that the points are awarded for overall position. So if you're in the AM-Clash and you get a great overall result, then you're cock a hoop really, because you're getting a huge chunk of points. In the feature, they're handed out based on your class position, not the overall. So that's the difference here. As we come round to complete the end of lap 1, Greatorex trying to put some pressure here on Tsuruta. We've seen this pair battle a whole lot in the past. Austin Greatorex is he's a Porsche Club of Great Britain lifer. He's been in since day 1. Tsuruta came in, I think, season 3, season 4, if my memory serves me correctly, but he's a fantastic driver and a former real-life Caterham racer, so I would think he'll have some real-life mileage around this track.
You would imagine so. This is certainly one of those tracks that they do Caterham racing in. Of course, if you think about it, Caterham, the original thing, which was the Lotus 7, well, that was just developed just down the road, wasn't it? So definitely a true home of Caterham racing is this one. But Will Chadwick in 4th place right now. I don't think he's in the biggest hurry at the moment. I think he's just happy. Well, I say he's happy there. He's going out on the grass there, Will. That's not part of the racetrack. Keep it on the grey stuff. But yeah, I don't know what it is, and maybe he's just not getting on with the setup like he normally would. But he's struggling to keep it on the track surface.
Yeah, he is, isn't he? Running and using all the room on the exit of the corners, and yeah, all the room and more. He'll be picking up the off-track incident points. The drivers, they get a limit of incident points that they can use, and they get 1 incident point for stepping over track limits, 2 for a spin, and 4 for heavy contact with another driver. So they do accumulate quicker than they look. That was the replay of Rob Sharp having a little twirl on the exit of Palmer's, I think that is, the run down toward Agostini. It's so flat here at Snetterton, and it all looks the same at some point.
Yeah, I think about the only elevation changes in the middle of Bombhole, isn't it? It really is a flat circuit, is this one. And of course Jonathan Palmer's got to have a corner named after him, hasn't he? It's his track, so take a bit of liberties and get yourself a corner named. There's the what happened earlier on for Tom Slater.
Yeah, he just got pushed out onto the grass, does a good job to keep the car in a straight line, does lose a lot of places, but keeps the car undamaged, which is the most important thing, to come over to the line to complete the second lap. The 2 Porsche Centre Chester cars running in flying formation. Ryan Penny leading team boss Carl Hazelton. Ryan Penny has a gorgeous 718 Porsche Spider. It's a really, really nice looking car as well. Ryan, if you're watching, if you listen to this back, that's a massive hint to give me a shot of it.
It's not like you to try and wangle yourself a driving Porsche, is it?
I'm a proud Boxster owner. I love my Boxster. It's a great car.
Oliver Cowardine, by the way, I think did just make a move and make it stick on Sashdev, so does move up to 2nd place in AM, so 8th place overall. Chris Byram is fair rocketing away from these two, and that's the problem. If you start fighting around here, or indeed any track really, you just slow each other down and allow this man right on the screen to just walk away.
Yeah, Chris Byram really is marching away at the moment in the lead of the AM class. Just dropped a couple of seconds to Hurricane Haley in 6th, but you know, it's so easy to make an error here at Snetterton. You never know, they might come towards him. As I think it was Stephen Haley in front of him just dipped a wheel on the grass and kicks up a load of midsummer dust. Of course, it does get very, very warm here in Norfolk throughout the summer. Oh, contact! Oh dear, contact at Nelson's. Jared Coleman, a little bit too much mustard there.
Yeah, that was a little bit spicy, was that one. So it's a big lock-up, and then, they just sort of come together in mid-corner. It's a very tricky section, is that, I will say, because, as I said, in that sort of lap-on-board lap, you're turning and braking at the same time, and it's so easy to lock up your inside wheel at that point and end up compromising yourself for the right-hander at Nelson.
And of course, the Mark Elvin there was unfortunately the driver who came off worst. And his car there, he obviously knows that this broadcast will be going out in France and not allowed to advertise alcohol. So instead of Martini, he's got the Dirty Mankini livery.
You know, when I used to be a rally marshal, there was a Lancia Fulvia went around with bikini on the side in Martini sort of logo shape.
Amazing.
That's what they put on there. So yeah, that's going back a few years now.
Beautiful car, Fulvia. Oh.
Yeah, but it's not a Porsche.
No, it's not. No, absolutely. No, absolutely true. You're certainly your Porsche won't fall to bits like a Fulvia might, for example.
That's true, yeah.
Yeah, they are. And of course, I tell you what, this new 992 Cup car is a real special machine, both in physical and virtual form. A little bit more power than the last one, wider track as well, more aero at the rear, and it's lighter. It's much lighter than the previous car. 70% aluminium and 30% steel, whereas the old car was 70% steel and 30% aluminium. Of course, there's a correspondent increase in cost, and yes, that's a correspondent loss in lap time from that mistake from Johnny Cullen there, and that allows Chadwick to go by, but Cullen's not having it. He's going to have a go up the inside here at Riches. No, he's not.
It's a hope and a prayer if you try and throw it up the inside there at Richards. It's more at Wilson here where you've got to try and make the move. But yeah, it just goes to show you've got to keep that pressure on, keep the pressure on to force a mistake out of your rival. It isn't the easiest track to overtake at, and that's exactly what Will did. The question is now, has he got the speed to catch up to the front two?
Yes, I think always. The one thing you can never write off Will Chadwick, he's so quick. He's got 1.4 seconds to find to get up to Greater X. 7 minutes to go. Now, Greater X is fighting for the championship. His closest rival is Will Chadwick. I don't know if he'll be wanting to mount too much of a charge towards Cerruti here, unless he can really get that job done quickly, because if he does get involved in any sort of skirmish, he'll have Chadwick on him. Oh, what's going on here? Is this Hazelton off the road? Dear me.
And it's Heinz Meyer.
Oh dear.
So you said about a little bit of sort of shenanigans and kerfuffle. It's just getting your braking wrong. Front to rear contact. They both go off. Heinz Meyer, unfortunately, that's the 57 varieties of contact made right there, and he is done into the grass. But he has kept it going though. He's ahead of Jared Coleman, so the condiments are together right now.
That's a super reference there you've made. Absolutely. I do worry though that Carl Hazelton might have a bit of engine damage. Of course, the 4-litre flat 6 in the rear of these cars, it's a little bit further forward than it used to be, but still in the rear of the car. Oh, Michael Rowe is fishtailed off. Oh dear. Big damage on the front left. What's the story there, I wonder, for the 35 car? He's going to pull it in. Oh my good lord.
He's lost that going into the left-hander.
Almost looked like he had a brake failure.
Well, I'd love to see like an onboard or something of that, just to get a look at that. Oh, and something happened to Drew Fletcher. A little bit of contact. Oh my goodness. Is that Hazelton again?
It was, yeah. It was. Drew Fletcher off into the gravel. Oh dear me. Right, this is on board with Michael Rowe. Buckle in, folks. Strap yourself in. Let's see what happened here. Did he touch the grass on the way in? Ah, yes, there he did. He's got a wheel on the grass. Hits the brakes. Boff. Oh dear.
Yeah, very little you can do about that. Once that back end goes into there, it's such a high speed section of the track as well. You're just a passenger at that point, and yeah. Heavy contact. Good news is that Michael Rowe can use one of the fast repairs that are available in the series, so don't worry, he can get back out there, everybody, so he can take a trip on the virtual tow truck back to pit road, get a quick new car, and then get back out there. Encourages people to not just retire, it encourages them to keep going in the races here, and that's what we love to see in a series like this.
Exactly, that's exactly what we like to see. You don't want to have to park it up and watch all your fellow club members go racing and having all the fun. Goodness me, well I hope Michael Rowe hasn't soiled his Stand 21 overalls there, because that was a big one. Riding on board with Johnny Cullen, who's given us a clear view of Will Chadwick's progress. Will Chadwick in front in the Fordzilla number 88 machine is right on the back now of Austin Greatrex for second place, and Chadwick already showing his intent there, looking up the inside. No, not quite. Cerruti will be looking in his mirror saying, carry on chaps, you just have a good old ding dong and I'll clear off into the Norfolk sunset.
See that Chadwick made it to the apex there, whereas Greatorex, he gave it a little bit of a wide berth there. You don't want to be sending postcards to the apexes, especially around this section of the track. Get it nicely in the apex. That time works. Oh, Chadwick with a boot full of throttle on corner exit there at Hamilton. So yeah, definitely he's pushing on. I did ask and wonder if he had the pace to catch up to the front two. I think he's answering that question right now.
Oh yeah, he's answered it in spades. Speaking of boots, Paul, we should say get well soon to Mark Phillips Burney, our overlord of the Porsche Club of Great Britain. He'd broken his foot, so he's not quite back to full running fitness yet, but we'll hopefully have him back in the car soon. And of course his good lady, Mrs. P, will be watching as well. So hello to you both. Hope you're enjoying the action so far. Chadwick has been dethroned. Johnny Cullen makes a move at Brundles. That was Brundles and Nelson's. Thank you. I did not expect that. Where did that come from?
They're off in the grass again in the undergrowth. Oh, Mark Elvin.
On the undercarriage of the Dirty Mankini.
Oh, that's coming into Hamilton. So that's at turn 5 then. So he's had something happen at the hairpin, maybe just lost the back end and around he went. Oh, found a day out. Oh, that's a bit late as that move, but it's fine. Bit of damage to the side of the car, onto the grass. Oh, and he just collected that car as well. Rob Sharp, I mean, he's had a bad day of it so far after that spin on lap 1. Now he gets involved in somebody else's accident.
Yeah, to put it bluntly. Oh. Yeah. Well. So, 1 minute and 45 seconds to go. Greatorex, I think, will have had a real sigh of relief there. And all of a sudden, Greatorex is all over the back of Tsuruta. This is yo-yoing all over the place. It's not a long race, so tires aren't going to be an issue. The track temperature isn't high. It's really interesting how the lap times have yo-yoed back and forward. Last time, 148.5 for Tsuruta, 148.3 for Greatorex. 49.0 for Cullen. Of course, that'll be making his move up past Chadwick. 49.9 for Chadwick. So we could see potentially Chadwick not only challenging for the win here, but finishing off the podium. That's something I did not think I'd be saying going into this.
Well, Greatorex, he's had an inconsistent last couple of rounds at Alton Park and at Knockhill as Austin. So he'll be looking for a good result here to try and get himself a solid footing once again in that Pro Championship. But yeah, he's really charged up to the back of Tsuruta. Tsuruta's just been out at front at all race. He's had the challenge of Austin behind him, but definitely now this is going to be pressure on for the final lap of the race here, Peter, because Austin has got the bit between his teeth.
And he's got the draft, and Tsuruta knows it. He's trying to weave a little bit to try and break the draft to Greatorex. But yeah, bit between his teeth. You got it in one, Paul. Austin Greatorex, he fancies this one in the Porsche Sport machine. And just gets it to the apex and no more. Both of these drivers really pushing it there as well. I hope they've had, dear me, I hope they've got Pirelli tyres fitted from their local Pirelli Performance Centre. Remember, you do get a discount with your PCGB membership cards, but because they're putting their cars really to the test here.
They are, and they're using every little bit of rubber that those Pirellis give them as well. As out of the hairpin then. No overtaking now or opportunities to overtake now, unless the car in front of you makes a mistake. Just got to be patient. Try and concentrate on getting the run out of the right-hander at Williams onto the Bentley straight here. That's what's important, because then you're going to carry that speed all the way down the straight. And if you make a mistake going onto the straight, no matter how quickly you feel like you get back up to speed, you just can't get that time back. And Tsuruta just weaving a little bit, but not too much. I think he realised he had just enough of a gap.
So no mistakes now from Tsuruta, and he's nearly got this sealed up as well, but through corners like the Bomb Hole, Coram and Murray's, that is much easier said than done. very difficult to overtake at this part of the circuit, but it's very easy to make a mistake. But can Tsuruta resist the pressure then from Greatorex? Out of Murray's he comes, hard on the power. The flying bogey charges towards the checkered flag. Christian Tsuruta is a winner here in Season 5 of the Porsche Club of Great Britain. Austin Greatorex in second. Does Johnny Cullen get third? Yes, he does. Will Chadwick off the podium. What a story.
And what a story as well for this man, Chris Byram. He's 19.5 seconds off the leader, but he's done exactly what he needed to do. Front of the AMs, and he's got himself a really good result in 7th place.
And Amrik Sashdev comes home second in AM class. Brilliant stuff. Carbadine third in the AM class. Clark in 10th. Great run from Ryan Penny. He's had a difficult season so far, but he's now up into, he's finished there in 5th position in class. Super stuff, and 11th overall.
Heinz Mayer trying to do a little bit of a recovery drive here as well, and just finishing behind Slater himself, having a bit of a recovery drive. And here we go, we've got 2 drivers towards the rear of the field. It's Mark Elvin and Drew Fletcher. Through Coram they go. I just don't think that Fletcher's quite close enough, although very wide line taken into the first part of Coram. Oh, we're going to see a move into Murray's Hour. There's a puff of brake smoke into the power once again. Not quite making it past there.
Well, there is a little bit of a consolation prize there for Drew Fletcher, because that puts him on reverse grid pole. It's a top 20 reverse here in the Porsche Club of Great Britain for the feature race. So our winner, Christian Tsuruta, will have to start from 20th and get through the pack, which is always interesting to watch as well. But tell you what a drive there from Christian Tsuruta, who picks up the win by just under half a second from Austin Greatorex. Johnny Cullen completes the podium, and Will Chadwick off the podium. That is something we have not seen all season. Very, very interesting stuff. How will it play out in the feature? I'm sure Will Chadwick will want to settle the score. Stephen Haley finished in 5th with Johnny Elia coming home in 6th place. Chris Byram was top of the AM class, followed by Amrik Sashdev, Oliver Carbadine and Stuart Clark. 11th was Ryan Penny, followed by Steve Kershaw, Tom Slater, Ralph Mayer and Carl Hazelton. Then it was Jared Coleman, Heinz Meyer, Rob Sharp, Mark Elvin and Drew Fletcher will start on pole position for our feature race, with Michael Rowe your last through the flag in 21st. Fastest lap of the race, a 147.789 for Johnny Cullen. Well, Paul, what did you make of that?
I mean, there wasn't the most overtakes in that race, but there was some good moves in there, especially Cullen's move on Will Chadwick as well, through Brundles into Nelson, so definitely not expected. You can't make the moves there, but it is very much a compromise between the two of you through there. But yeah, some good driving. Christian Tsuruta though, he just seemed assured at the front from what I saw of his driving performance there, and really looked good. But Austin Greatorex really put the pressure on towards the end of the race there.
That he did, and interesting, it shows that those times in practice, they were absolutely indicative of the pace that we saw, which only makes me look marginally less silly than when I called it qualifying earlier. But it did show how important that was to the race pace. I mean, it sounds daft, Bob, but I mean, what do you think is going on at the wheel of Will Chadwick's machine? We're just used to seeing him being so consistent and on the pace all the time in whatever he drives. He seems a bit off cover tonight. This isn't like him.
Well, I mean, we say that he had very good consistency in qualifying, because all 3 lap times were covered by 1,000th of a second. So,
oh, wow.
So he has some consistency.
That's Chadwick in a nutshell.
Yeah, he has some consistency there, absolutely. So, but as he put, it was consistency all at the wrong time. But yeah, if he can sort of show that consistency going into this feature race, and don't forget as well, with that inverted grid, it's who can deal with the so-called slower traffic the best will just gain so much more from this reverse inverted grid.
Yeah, and the reverse grids are always notorious for, you know, turn 1, 2, 3 incidents. And for the drivers who want to win this championship, they've got to be so aware of this. I mean, we've seen this. Austin Greatorex, our championship leader, perfect example. You know, a couple of seasons ago, he was really in with a shout of winning the championship, and just, you know, time after time got caught up in others' incidents, often, you know, very much often not of his own making. And, you know, that you've really got to go in with your eyes open in these reverse grid races. It can be a bit chaotic. There's drivers who are, well, reverse grid says it all. It's reverse the pace order, more or less. So it's definitely a challenge. It's a challenge for all, because if you're pushing on yourself and you're trying to get a good finish in the AM class, and then 3 pros come up behind you all like a swarm of bees, it's incredibly intimidating.
Certainly is, and it's how you deal with the pressure of those drivers coming through to try and make those moves. Two people who might have a good one out of this is Stephen Kershaw and Johnny Elia, because they didn't quite have the pace in that first race to keep up with the front 4 in the pros, but the second race, with it being an inverted grid, it gives them a chance to start in front of those other guys who were in the top 4 from first race, and gives them the opportunity to start making their way through and be the first ones to pick their way through the field. And of course, if you do get through that field first, you can then try and build a gap at the front of the field. So it gives them an opportunity of potentially getting a class win here.
It does, yeah, and of course remember the points are awarded based on your class position in the feature, not by your overall position, which they are in the heat races as well. So very important to keep that in mind for the drivers and for us all watching the action here on RaceSpotTV. Do let us know in the comments where you're watching from, who you're watching with, and most importantly of all, what are your race snacks? Very important indeed. A huge thank you to all of our sponsors for making this possible: MyDAS Simulations, Strasser in Yorkshire, Porsche Centre Chester, Stand 21, Petro Canada Lubricants, and so many more. Pirelli Tyre as well. We really appreciate your support of the Porsche Club of Great Britain Sim Racing, and the championship continues to go from strength to strength, something that was born out of almost out of necessity in early lockdown a couple of years ago, and has flourished into a real important part of the club's motor racing activity. Drew Fletcher and Mark Elvin will be your front row, followed by Rob Sharp, Heinz Meyer, Jared Coleman and Carl Hazelton. Row 4 is Ralph Mayer, Tom Slater, followed by Steve Kershaw and Ryan Penny. Then it's Stuart Clark and Oliver Carwadine. Row 7 is Amrik Sashdev and Chris Byram, followed by Johnny Elia, Stephen Haley, Will Chadwick and Johnny Cullen. Row 10 will be our front row finishers from the last race, Austin Greatorex and Christian Saruta. Michael Rowe, you'll have to start from P21 after a difficult opening race of the day. So the drivers are prepared and eager to get going. 25 minutes of racing this time rather than 15 in the heat, a much longer race to the flag. The revs come up ready to unleash 500 horsepower from these flat 6 4-litre motors on the rev limiter, and green, we're racing for the feature here in the Porsche Club of Great Britain. Off they go, and straight away Mark Elvin in the Dirty Mankini makes a look up the inside, but no, Fletcher cuts the nose off. Watch out for Rob Sharp there as well, number 86 machine going to make a look up the inside into Wilson's. Oh, thinks better of it. Really late on the brakes there as well, but great start from our front row. And look at Chadwick, he's trying to hook it around the outside and make moves early.
And that's a move that you can make there around the outside. If everyone's determined to be on the inside, they're all checking each other up on lap 1. So Chadwick is fair tearing through the field. He's already gained 6 places, looking to gain a 7th place here as they go into the hairpin. But yeah, he's determined to try and make a run of this one. And in fact, he's the leading pro driver. We're not even halfway around the lap.
Yeah, Chadwick, I think he's gone, right, no more Mr. Nice Guy. I've had enough. Oh, the crash at the back. That's the Rusty, I think that was the Rusty Roast machine. That's Stuart Clark off the road early on here. Meanwhile, our race winner, Saruta, and indeed Austin Greatorex, they're just taking a little bit of time to get going here. Stuck back in the pack a little bit. Chadwick, meanwhile, he's saying, nah, no chance. He's up to 9th position already from just inside the top 20. He's trying to make a move by Tom Slater here at Brundle. Around the outside he goes. Oh, inspired, and oof, Slater nearly clips the back there, but just misses out Now, next up is Ralph Meyer and the 990. Chadwick making this look easy. Oh, but it's not. There you go, Carl Hazelton. Was he serving a slowdown there? It was a completely different pace to the rest.
It certainly did look like it, didn't it? I wonder if he'd got across the inside of Brundles and Nelson and got himself a slowdown penalty. But Chadwick is on an absolute charge here, and he's fair doing a job as they go down the centre straight once again. But as you move forward, the cars as we go along through the race are just spread out that little bit more. So he needs to make these places in the early going while the going's relatively easy. As is that Mayer off into the track grass there? No,
yeah, Ralph Mayer and Slater, but Mayer as well. And I think Mayer just maybe missed his braking point slightly. He was side by side with Chadwick, and I think just got a little bit unsighted there going into Richards. It's such a fast, big commitment corner that I think he maybe just got a little bit out of his rhythm there. But Chadwick, and you know what the fantastic thing is as well, so far Chadwick doesn't even appear to be taking silly risks. He's just got so much more car speed than the rest. I mean, let's have a look at what happened to Mayer. No, I do apologise to Ralph Mayer there. Tom Slater tried to, I don't know what he was trying to do there, to be honest, or what he had planned on achieving, but it didn't come off.
I think he was trying to follow Chadwick through there into Riches, and it just wasn't on there from that sort of distance. Through onto the Bentley straight once again, carrying the speed, and up 12 places. It's about to be 13 places. Car in the middle of the road there. That is not an ideal situation for Carl Hazelton, because that is right in the firing line and the exit of Williams into the Bentley straight.
Yeah, that was lucky that there wasn't a bigger accident there with Carl Hazelton spinning the dealer principal from Porsche Centre Chester and real world Porsche racer as well. Just loops it on the exit there. Just shows you how easy it is to have a big accident. Interesting.
I do remember Ashley Sutton in the British Touring Car Championship back in 2016 having an awful accident where he came around the corner, the cars in front of him parted, and there was a car just at 90 degrees to him, and he T-boned it. It was an awful accident, and you don't have a small accident on the exit of Williams.
No, it's really, really fast through there, as you can see. Chadwick trying to make his move on Fletcher. We've got a couple of cars off there. Let's have a look then, see what happens. So Meyer, he's there in the red and black car, and the 64 loses it on the brakes and clatters into the side. That's Jared Colburn who clattered into the side of Meyer. And mustard and soup don't mix.
They don't. Well, I mean, you might be able to. I don't know, but it's not my personal choice, if you ask me.
Not mustard and tomato soup, anyway.
No, there's down the inside, taking advantage. Look at that, Johnny Elia. He's trying to make it 2 places, not making it yet, but he should have. Elvin on corner exit, although Elvin gets the better run out the corner, doesn't he, down the back straight. And don't go and squeeze each other, give each other room. We are racing over the internet here, so you do have to make certain allowances for different people's internet connection, and losing it there is Elvin.
You've got to admire the tenacity to try it there for Elvin, but just got a little bit unsighted, and has to get back going again in number 986. Meanwhile, back at the front, the number 26 Drew Fletcher has got Will Chadwick all over the back of him. Makes a little bit of a mistake there on the curb, and that's given a gimme to Will Chadwick. And you look back to Chadwick's nearest kind of pace rival, Cerrito's 4 seconds back, Greater X is 5 seconds back. This is advantage Chadwick with 19 minutes to go. And as we so well know here in this championship and so many others, Paul, when Chadwick gets clean air, he can just time trial all day long. Although, he does have a bit of front left damage there, I see.
Yeah, that could be from a little bit of a contact with another car. That line, not the best. Clips the curb, and Chadwick, and that's it. He's not really had to make, as you say, he's not had to make any silly moves or anything, any desperation moves. He's just been picking off people on speed. Now Cullen is under pressure from Zaruta, as Stephen Haley's gone for a bit of a mow of the grass. It's going to be a bit dry as that grass after the recent weather, so definitely don't park a hot car on top of that grass. But Zaruta managed to get ahead of Cullen there, so moving up another position for Christian.
He's on it tonight. We sometimes see these races where Christian Zaruta seemingly could race wheel to wheel with anybody in any contender, and he really is on one of his hot nights tonight. I do recall a couple of seasons ago where he was battling at Donington with Jacob Toffs, who's very close to qualifying for the Porsche Tag Heuer Esports Super Cup, and that gives you an impression of just how fast Zaruta can be on his night, and this is definitely his night. The question is can he run down Chadwick? It's a big ask. The gap between Zaruta and Chadwick has gone up from 4 to about 4.5 seconds. So, Zaruta really needs to make moves through quickly and then start laying down some really hot qualifying laps. It's a big ask, but we'll see.
Can I just point out, Will Chadwick did a 47.8 that last lap. Drew Fletcher a 51.7. Oh, Zaruta to the inside of Riches, and that's it. You've got to give the space there if you're Ryan Penny, because you do. Oh, now we've got 3 wide there into Wilson. Oh, and Johnny Cullen, look at that, trying to get the up and under on Zaruta there.
This is winner bin stuff from Christian Zaruta. It's absolute, or as we say in rallying, trees or trophies. Definitely from Zaruta. He's throwing everything at this. He knows how much pace he's got underneath that machine. As we lovingly call it, the flying bogey. If you wonder why, just look at the colour of it.
Now Drew Fletcher, he'll be looking in his mirrors right now going, oh my goodness, really? Because he's got an absolute swarm of cars behind him. Look at that view there. It's like somebody towing a caravan on a bank holiday Monday back from the coast. It's just a queue of traffic on the B road and nobody can get past here.
And they're all in Porsche GT3s as well. There's probably the entire UK allocation of Porsche GT3s behind that caravan. Oh, Zaruta makes the move then on Fletcher. Fletcher sees it coming and has to... Oh, as Cullen gets it on the grass. What amazing car control from Cullen there. He had to put a wheel on the grass. The rear came around. He held it. I don't quite know how he kept that one on the racetrack. Amazing stuff there from Cullen. Properly fast reactions.
And Johnny earlier was trying to go down the inside at the same time. There wasn't the room there, but Austin Greatorex says thank you very much, but that's going to compromise him. Although Johnny just running out wide, that slows him down on corner exit, and that's going to allow, is that Stephen Kershaw coming up alongside? No, it's Ryan Penny. Sorry, I do apologise. Ryan Penny, the AM driver, trying to get the position back here. Remember, folks, you only score as to where you are in your category itself, in your class. A little bit of a squeeze. Oh, well, somehow they all make it through.
Yeah, a pretty good coexistence there. They're all on top of each other with slightly different braking points playing out as well. Zaruta up into second, but in the process of doing so, he's now 8 seconds behind Chadwick. So that traffic jam really hurt Zaruta there as well. Yeah. 151.0 last time by, a 47.6 for Chadwick. Chadwick is right back in his rhythm. He's really bouncing back in the second race.
I think that was Ralph and Heinz Bayer both just having a little bit of door banging session there. So the two of them getting together out there on track. But yeah, this Chadwick, that's what, as I said, didn't I, before the start of this race, it was about getting through that traffic and getting to the front of the field to try and make a breakaway, and that's exactly what Will Chadwick has done. And Christian Zaruta, it's going to take one heck of an effort to catch that gap up, because Chadwick was matching the pace of Zaruta and Cullen and Greatorex in that first race. As there's a move then, and Fletcher now. Drew's trying to hang on to an AM lead here ahead of Ryan Penny. Easier said than done.
Yeah, not easy at all. This has been a great night at the office for Ryan Penny. He's driving so well. Second in the AM class, and yeah, we're challenging for the lead as well. Chris Byron, watch out for him though. Oh, mistake there from Fletcher. Penny tries to make amends. Here comes Byram as well. Don't write off Slater there in the green car. Is this Snetterton or is it Talladega? My goodness me, this is packed racing here as they charge down towards Riches. Are they all going to be able to get through clean? Penny's going to lead the way in. Byram's going to try and hook it around the outside line, as is Slater. Slater gets the move done on Fletcher. Penny's going to go to the defensive line. Byram tries to go all the way around the long way, locks up on the brakes, as does Penny. Here comes Slater. Here comes Fletcher. Oh, but side-to-side contact and Fletcher loses it.
Well, I was about to ask, is somebody going to take a sensible pill here? Because it was all getting a little bit silly there, wasn't it, towards turn number 1. We managed to make it through turn 1. Unfortunately, it was Drew who fell by the short side there on the exit of Wilson's. But, yeah, it's unfortunate for him. Great opportunity then today for Drew. He's just had that incident which dropped him down. So what's that, 6th place in class now for Drew Fletcher. But yeah, that gaggle of cars, sensational racing once again from the Porsche Club of Great Britain Sim Series. It's fantastic to watch.
Oh, it's brilliant. And the result of all that melee is that Ryan Penny now is leading in the AM class. And I'm sure someone will correct me if I'm wrong. I think if he's able to hang on to this will be his first class win in the championship as well. And he's driving with confidence, real confidence. Like I said, he's had a tricky season. He's had some difficult races, but really on it tonight at Snetterton. And just his body language of the car looks good. However, he's going to have to fight for this one. Tom Slater has fought for the AM class before. He's a front runner in the AM class, so he's going to have to beat the best in the class to take that win. Watch out for Carbadine as well, and Byram. They've got good pace, but 11 minutes and 47 seconds to go. Let's see.
I was about to say, I don't think there was a Porsche width of asphalt down between the pit wall and Carbadine's car for Byram.
Or a 550 Spider, maybe.
Oh, to the inside! Byram, late braking once again. Nice. Of course, won the amateur class in the first race of the evening, and he's now up to 3rd place. A good move from Mr. Motivator himself.
Absolutely, yeah. That was he's been doing his aerobics before this race to get the blood circulating. And Penny going to the defensive into Hamilton's then, Agostini's, excuse me, as they come up towards Hamilton's now. Slater trying to make his way through, and Byram's on the back of them now as well, while Penny's going on the defensive. That's allowed Byram a chance to catch up as well. But if Ryan Penny can keep the mistakes out of it here, he can run the pace, and he can run the defensive line critically as well to maintain that position. But my goodness me, this is going to be a long 10 minutes and 40 seconds for the Porsche Centre Chester driver.
It certainly is. You're asking a lot there to hang on for that long, as Mark Elvin's decided to take a trip back to the pit lane, so he's going to be out of this race. But yeah, Penny, he's got a tall order here, because not only has he got Tom Slater behind, who we've seen has got pace, he's got Chris Byram, who seems to really be hooked up from an AM point of view around this track, Oliver Carwadine, and not that far behind, of course, is Amrik Sashdev as well. So he's got a real train of cars to try and keep behind. But if he can do it, then my goodness, he's got a tremendous score coming his way here in this race.
He does indeed, yeah, and this would get Ryan Penny's AM Championship campaign right back on track. It's such, as we can see, it's such a tight class. All of these drivers will even match on times that, yeah, the wins are often spread out quite a lot. So Penny looking good for now. Slater trying to find his way through. Chris Byram just keeping an eye on proceedings as they come through Palmer's. Amrik Sashdev as well. He's there too in the 360 financial management machine, a driver of a Porsche 911 GT3 road car. Oh, who was that making a bit of contact there?
Yeah, I thought I heard a little bit of contact as well. And Slater now, he's wanting to make some moves. And the problem with that corner at Hamilton is if you try and make a move, it just gets everybody right up behind you, because it is pretty much a one-line corner through Hamilton. So not the best place to try and make a move, but sometimes you've got to think outside the box if you're not making it past the car in front. And sometimes it's best to just arrive, rock up, make the move immediately and get away, because if you get stuck behind a car in front, you seem to fall into a little bit of a trap of where you start braking at the point they're braking and turning where they're turning. And before you know it, you're matching the lap times of the car in front and you can't get past.
8 minutes and 23 seconds to go in this race, and well, what a thriller we have here in the AM class, particularly out front in the Pro class. Will Chadwick has extended his advantage over Christian Tsuruta to just under 10 seconds, who in turn has a very slender advantage over Johnny Cullen for the last spots on the podium. Austin Greatorex just a couple of seconds behind that podium battle, with Johnny Elia rounding out the top 5. But the AM class battle is where to look. It's got a little lock up there for Jared Coleman into Murray's, and that if you make a mistake at that corner, it really does kill the run all the way down the very long centre straight towards the very, very fast Riches right-hander. The corner named after Fred Riches, who was the original landowner. He was also the local church warden, and he said, yes, you could race here, but no racing on a Sunday. 10:45.
Absolutely, Sunday Mass. You've got a similar situation at Alton Park, where there's actually a noise curfew on a Sunday for Sunday morning Mass. So yeah, definitely, it's one of those venues where you are sort of a little bit out in the sticks a little bit. Well, I mean, anywhere in Norfolk, if you ask me, is out in the sticks. But this circuit, you know, unfortunately, race cars are noisy. Some people really like the noise as well, but unfortunately you've got to work with the locals with venues like this, or else we end up losing motorsport venues or getting very limited running at them. Just ask the people at Croft. Oh, that's a bit of a late move from Chris Barham, a bit too late. Be careful with that. Wow, how did he keep that going and not touch anyone?
Oh, I'm not sure. I think more the cooperation of Tom Slater, who in turn has lost a lot of time there having to avoid that incident. That's allowed Carwadine to take second position in the AM class, and it's given Ryan Penny a perfect bit of breathing room now as well. So, massive lock up there from the front right-hand tyre there of Tom Slater. You wouldn't get that with a Pirelli. It would bite, no problem.
It certainly would, although maybe it was biting a little bit too much on that unloaded tyre, should I say. A little bit of suboptimal rotation of the tyre there for him.
That's a lot of big words for this time of the day, Paul. Just under 6 minutes to go then in this race, and who's going to finish on this podium for the AM class, it's impossible to tell. But back near the front, Tsuruta, he won the heat race, and in the feature hasn't quite been able to make an impression into Will Chadwick, who just carved through the pack with such decisiveness and confidence. But a second place finish would a win in a second, he would settle for that. However, there is no settling going on here, because Johnny Cullen is on the case. And if these two start to battle, championship leader Austin Greatorex will be very pleased about that, because he can get himself into the fight. And they're really pushing here at the front. Tsuruta using all of the road and more. Oh, big slide there through the bomb hole.
Got to be careful with the slide through the bomb hole, and yeah, definitely pushing these cars to the limit. And you're absolutely right, Austin Greatorex, yeah, he's only, what, a couple of seconds back, 3 seconds back, so he'll be loitering with intent if these two start tripping over each other. He'll see the opportunity arise, and you don't need to ask him twice to take advantage of that. But through turn 1, Richards once again, a scary tree in the background, watching over the racing, onto the brakes, and just look at these guys. They're pretty much matching each other's apexes and braking points right here. Johnny Cullen needs something just a little bit different to be able to make it count and to make some moves.
Yeah, he's just getting closer and closer, it seems, particularly on the straight, just getting a little bit of slipstream. Now, here's the battle for the AM class lead. Ryan Penny trying desperately to keep Oliver Carbadine at bay in the 11th Racing Machine, and Penny, oh, does he allow a cutback opportunity there for Carbadine? No, not quite. Ryan Penny is fighting like a lion here to keep Carbadine at bay for this AM class victory. And Tom Slater, he's now coming in back into the game as well. Byram can't be far behind there as well. Slater has a massive moment there on the exit of Agostini's. And Ago himself would have been very proud of that big smoky slide. Not the fastest way around, but very cool nonetheless. Wowee. But Penny still hangs on for now. Carbadine's going to have to try and find another way around, but Carbadine is looking menacing here.
He certainly is, and I think Ryan Penny is starting to show the signs of that pressure as well. He was wide through Agostini's, and he just doesn't seem to quite be hitting his apex as the same as he was earlier on. So that pressure of that queue of 4 cars behind, or 3 cars behind as it is at the moment, is starting to tell, I feel. And with just under 3 minutes remaining in this race, we've got about 2 laps remaining in this one. So he's only got to hang on as Ryan for 2 more laps, and he can get himself an AM victory.
Oh, well, I know there'll be all the Porsche Centre team will be cheering him on. Porsche Centre Chester team, they really will. And actually, interestingly, Ryan Penny recently had his first track day in his Boxster Spider, and I do wonder if that on-track experience in let's be honest, a very, very high-performance motor car has really helped his sim driving, because this has definitely been a step up this week in performance for Ryan Penny. It's fantastic to see. Carbadine, don't forget, is a proper front-running driver, and Penny's keeping him at bay. And actually, they're pulling away from Slater and from Byram again as they rush down towards Agostini. This is so tense here.
But look at that defensive line from Penny. You can see they're trying a different line there, and Carbadine's just not able to get the cut back on the exit of Agostini. But I tell you what, if Ryan Penny wins the AM race here, then they'll be dancing in the streets of Chester tonight, I can tell you.
Do you know, that was, you took the words out my mouth. That's exactly what I was thinking. They'll be dancing up and down Bridge Street in Chester. Fantastic. Just under a minute and a half to go then, so this will be the penultimate lap as it looks at the moment. Underneath the bridge they go towards Brundles, and here comes Carbadine. Penny closes the line off as well, hard on the brakes, can he get it down to the apex, runs a little bit wide on the exit. Here comes Carbadine, is he going to slip inside at the bomb hold? No, not quite. That's
for me,
a major slip up.
For me, it's the run out of Murray's. Coram, you're not really going to get the move done, but it's all about your line through here and getting the speed out of Murray's. And that's a mistake! Oh no! And it's the commentator's curse! Ryan Penny runs wide, loses 2 places.
Oh, as soon as he was coming into Murray's, I thought, oh, he's carrying a lot of speed here, and that really showed. But Carbadine and Slater, they're playing for keeps here as well, so Penny's not out of it yet. He's got to try and fight back here, go for the win. Trees or trophies, just not the scary tree, don't knock that over. Oh, Carbadine locks up. Carbadine locks up. Here comes Slater. Side by side they go as they run towards Palmer, so it's Carbadine who's got it for now. This is the last lap, coming down to the wire here in the Porsche Club of Great Britain AM class, down towards Agostini. Penny's lost a little bit of the drive there as well. Can Slater take this win out at the last minute? Oh, wide for Carbadine again. He can't get the power down.
Oh, this is the opportunity. Slater. This is the opportunity for Slater to the inside. Oh, chops the nose off this Carbadine on the grass again. Oh, he comes Byram. Oh, into the side of Penny. Oh, this is just carnage in the AM class on the last lap.
Oh, Chris Byram, it's still going on at the front as they go onto the Bentley straight for the final time. Will Chadwick, he's already halfway up the M1. He's won the race. There he goes. He wins in pro by 11 seconds. But back at the AM class, Carbadine trying to defend furiously from Slater. Slater's going left, he's going right, trying to find a way through. Can Carbadine hold on? Where's he gone? Oh, a little bit wide. Has Carbadine done enough? I think it's going to be a drag race to the line here. Through the bomb hole they go. And a little bit of a momentum for Slater fall.
That was a big twitch going through the bomb hole there for Carwadine. Oh, can he do it? He's onto the brakes, different lines. Slater, you've got to get the run out of this one. And he's not. He's run wide. This is the opportunity for Byram.
I don't know if he's close enough, so it's going to be Oliver Carwadine who wins an all-time classic here in the Porsche Club of Great Britain. Slater in second, Byram in third, and oh, spare a thought for poor old Ryan Penny. He fought like a lion all race long, but it goes the way of Carwadine. That, ladies and gentlemen, is Porsche Club of Great Britain sim racing at its best. Hard racing, fair racing, fantastic entertainment. Love it.
Oh, I tell you what, Chaz, get your internet breaking every week if the racing's going to be that good. I'll be here every time. That was simply sensational from the AM drivers. Will Chadwick, I mean, we barely showed him in that race. It was a sterling drive from him. It was all about those first couple of laps. But what a race for the AM race lead.
One of the best in Porsche Club history. That was fantastic. You look at that result sheet and you think, well, that must have been a bit of a boring race. Winner wins by 10 seconds. Boring. It was not. And this is what multi-class does. It's fantastic. But big props to Will Chadwick. A super drive. Christian Tsuruta coming home in second. A great night at the office for him. Johnny Cullen gets on the podium in third. Austin Greatorex coming home in fourth. That will really tighten the championship up. Johnny Elia is in fifth. And Steve Kershaw rounds out the top pro runners in sixth. And Oliver Carwadine comes out on top in a race for the ages from Tom Slater, Chris Byram, and poor old Ryan Penny. Give him a round of applause. That was a heroic drive from Penny. Didn't quite come out his way this time, but you can be sure that he'll be back buoyed by a lot of confidence. Stephen Haley, he was in 11th overall. Amrik Zasteb finished in 12th, followed by Rob Sharp, Carl Hazelton, and Jared Coleman. Then it was Heinz Meyer, Drew Fletcher, Ralph Meyer, Stuart Clark, and Mark Elvin rounds out the top 20 with Michael Rowe not making it to the flag. Woo-wee! Well. That was quite some race. And Paul, down to you with our race winner, Will Chadwick.
Yeah, we'll get Will in here to have a word. I mean, let's start first of all with that first race, because you had a bit more to do in that first race. Ended up finishing in fourth place, but just talk us through that one.
Pretty much all down to a poor performance in quali. Oh, from a consistency perspective, fantastic, because I did 3 laps within 0.001, but it wasn't any good on the times. But yeah, no, qualifying was poorish. You know, starting from fourth, we only had the one heat. Made a bit of a botch at the start when it was your best chance to make overtakes in Porsche Cup. Then I got a slowdown after I'd overtook Johnny, so kind of messed the race up for myself, really. Coming into second race, obviously I had the advantage from starting 17th instead of 18th, 19th, 20th of the other guys. So I just made sure I made it as decisive as possible and got that lead while I could, and made up for a rather poor race one for my standards.
Well, I was about to ask, because we were just waxing lyrical about you at the start of that second race. Was it just a conscious effort of, right, I need to get to the front of this field as quickly as possible to give myself the best opportunity of a race win here?
I knew the other guys' pace was fast, but I was so annoyed at myself personally for the mistakes I'd made in this session so far. I was just not taking any prisoners, so I just fully went for it and just tried to be as clean as possible while getting the moves done. And yeah, just then got my head down, regained the consistency, and just took the race win, thankfully.
Just quickly looking forward to a couple of weeks' time, because it's the trip away for the Porsche Club of Great Britain sim racing season, because we're off to Road Atlanta next. I mean, classic venue for motorsport. What's your thoughts on racing this series around there?
I never like Petit Le Mans, and that's the only thing that comes to mind.
You wash your mouth out, son.
That's the only thing that comes to mind when I hear about Road Atlanta. I think it'll be interesting. It's, it sort of mirrors Thruxton, like you would have, I think, in the real life calendar, or is it Croft? I'm not sure. One of the two. Quite excited. We'll see how it goes. And yeah, send it.
Well, thanks a lot for joining us here, and well done on the race win in the feature.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Bye-bye.
As that was Will Chadwick then. Let's hopefully get a word with Christian Zaruta then, because Christian, I mean, what a day for yourself. You win the heat race and then you come second in this feature race. I mean, how was that for you tonight?
Yeah, I had the hot sauce on my dinner tonight, so I was in a hurry. Snetterton, she spoke to me. I've raced there a few times and done quite well. So it's a track I know pretty well, which probably helped a little bit, because there's a few secrets which can translate to the sim for sure. But I was surprised at how close I was to the really fast guys like Will. So yeah, I was pretty pleased with that.
Yeah, it was a really good night for yourself, but I mean, that second race, it looked to be a bit of a challenge to work your way through the field to start with, and then of course you had your old friend in Johnny Cullen to keep you company for the rest of the race.
Yeah, well, the first 3 laps, I'm normally quite good at cutting through and making progress really quickly, but the first 3 laps in here, there was nowhere you could go. It was just a sea of cars in front of you, so I just had to kind of sit and wait for a bit, and by that point Will had gone, and I think I got the better luck out of myself, Johnny and Austin as we were cutting our way through. There were a couple of moments where I went one way and they went the other, and I made the right choice and they made the wrong choice, which made it a bit easier to get past them, because it was very hard to follow closely there, which was pretty difficult to overtake as well. So yeah, getting past them early with a bit of luck was definitely helpful.
Well, Christian, we'll let you get away and get cooled off, because it's been a warm night, that's for sure. But congratulations on a win in the heat and the second place in that feature race.
Thanks very much. Cheers.
There we go. That's Christian Zaruta, and I do want to also speak to the man who won in the AM class in that feature race, Oliver Cowardine. I mean, my goodness, you left it to the end, didn't you, to get that win there?
It's all a bit of a blur. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. We've got you. But that was a tremendous race to watch from our point of view.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, it was, as I say, it just happened pretty quickly, but I just tried to keep out of trouble. Thanks to everybody that I was racing against for keeping it clean. I mean, there was times when I nearly lost it, and yeah, I'm just delighted to basically finally get one.
Well, that's it. I mean, you got up to you had Ryan Sharp in front of you for Ryan Penny in front of you for quite a while. I mean, just how tricky is it to make those moves when you're so evenly matched in pace?
I mean, extremely, because I think Ryan's been doing really well, and we've had actually some really good races in this series and another one we're in. And I didn't want to kind of send it and take him off for it, so I was being super cautious and trying to be patient, and then eventually I think he went wide at the last corner and I just managed to go through. So yeah, sorry for him, but yeah, pleased for me.
Yeah, well, at the end of the day, it's all about your results, and it was a tremendous result for you getting the AM win. But Road Atlanta next. I mean, is that one that you're looking forward to?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think it's a favourite of most of the drivers, and I mean, in contrast to this track, I think, yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. At Snetterton, I didn't know what I was doing, really what lines to take or anything. I haven't raced it very much. So, yeah, it was a bit of a surprise to get the result. But, yeah, looking forward to the next one.
Well, we'll let you get away and find yourself a dark, cool room to just lie down in after that one. But well done, Oliver, on the AM win there.
Thank you.
That's Oliver Cowardine. And next we're going to have a word with Johnny Cullen, who managed to find himself in third place in that feature race. Johnny, I mean, I'll go to the heat race to start with, because you and Will Chadwick, you were having a bit of a ding-dong battle one, and you pulled off a tremendous move down through Brundle into Nelson. You caught both of us in the commentary box off by surprise.
I think Will got a bit of a slowdown, which helped going up the straight. But yeah, no, I mean, to be fair, Will gave me a ton of space, and that allowed me to get the move done. So nice, safe racing all round, I think, on that one.
Yeah, it was certainly impressive from where we looked, so take that for sure. But that feature race, because you and Christian were just at it pretty much all race, but working your way through the field here is not the easiest. How did you find that feature race?
Really tough getting through. I don't know how Will managed it. The seas parted in front of him, it seemed, when we were setting off from the grid. He did fantastically well to get through as far as he did. And I think I had a bit of a bump with someone at the start, maybe Stuart, which was a bit unfortunate. And just trying to keep it clean, trying to keep the incident points down, not very successfully. But my main aim for this race was to not end up in the pits, which success. So we are improving.
Well, absolutely. I mean, consistency. I mean, that's 2 third places for the night, so you must be happy with the points there. And you know, I've asked a couple of others. Road Atlanta next time out. Track that you like, track that you don't. Will Chadwick doesn't like it, so you know you can take that forward into the next one.
I really like Road Atlanta, but it's really tough to pass against good drivers, right? So you're very limited in the opportunities. So I'm expecting some fireworks, maybe.
Well, hopefully it's not too many fireworks.
No.
You have a good time out there.
Safe fireworks lit from a distance.
those indoor fireworks that you get like for kids' parties, that's the type. Yeah, that'll do. But Johnny, thanks very much for joining us, and congratulations on 2 third places.
Thank you very much, guys. See you next time.
So that was Johnny Cullen, and we'll get to have a quick word with the man who came into this round as the leader of the Pro Championship, Austin Greatorex. I mean, Austin, first race, it was very much you were battling for the leader, and you had Will Chadwick suddenly appear on your engine, and then you managed to be battling towards the end. I mean, talk us through tonight from your point of view.
Good evening, gents. I think that's the first clean round, shall we say, where I've not made an error all season. So, although I didn't get the result in the feature, no, the heat race went mega for me. Obviously, I lost the spot on the start, which is a bit annoying, but to come home in P2 and hold Will and Johnny behind me were mega.
Absolutely, and you know, you look at it from a championship point of view as well. You know, it's two. Okay, it wasn't 2 podiums, but you know, a 2nd and a 4th place here today. It gets you some good points for the championship. Is that something that you're just taking race by race, or are you thinking big picture by now? How are you approaching it?
To be honest, I think once the drop rounds come in, I think the championship's all Wills at the minute. You could probably stop racing now and he'd still win it. So for me, I'm just going for P2. So it's me versus Johnny and Christian at the moment, I believe. So that's my aim, P2.
Oh, don't feed Will's ego anymore, please. We don't need a race spot, but yeah, into the next round then. Road Atlanta, we've been hearing from others. You know, some like it, some don't. Tricky track as well. Turn 5, it can be a brutal. How do you see things going out next time?
It's a bit hit and miss for me. I've had good results there, I've had bad results there. So I'll just guess it'll be luck on the evening and see how we get on.
Well, I mean, hopefully the luck goes your way, Austin, but congratulations on a couple of good results here tonight.
Thank you very much. Have a good evening, guys.
There we go, Peter. That's all the interviews done there, and some very happy people.
Absolutely, yeah, it certainly is. It's great to hear from the drivers and how they got on this evening, and just some super racing, particularly. That AM class race was just a corker. One of the best we've seen in PCGB history. It really was. I mean, clean, hard racing. It was fantastic.
It was tremendous stuff, was that, and real ding-dong battling in that one, and you know, there was no quarters asked and none given, certainly, and if only, you know, if is the biggest word in motorsport, and Ryan Penny will be sitting there thinking, if I hadn't have carried that speed into Murray's, I could have been on for an AM win there, but it'll come. It certainly will. He showed some tremendous pace out there tonight, and it was really impressive. But I hate to feed Will's ego, let's be honest, but he was tremendous in that feature race, wasn't he?
Well, it's certainly been a fantastic night of racing. Certainly enjoyed bringing you all the action here on RaceSpot TV. It's been good to have you in the booth as always, Paul. A huge thank you for watching here on RaceSpot TV. The next race, don't miss it, the 24th of August, Road Atlanta, 7:45 BST. We'll have all the action here on RaceSpot TV. But for now, from myself, Peter Mackay, from Paul Smith and our producer, Hugo Luis, thanks for watching and good night.